Hello, virtuous thought leaders, scholars, and virtue change agents. My name is Dr. Lisa Marie Portugal, and I am the Leadership Architect. I'd like to welcome you today to a new talk that I have prepared for you and in service to you and your goals. This talk is called Leading Through Activities, and it is a continuation of the talk before this about the AOR model. It comes out of one of my many books called A Culture of Excellence, Virtuous Leadership Principles for Organizational Success, a Management System. And the cover slide there is also the cover of the book, The Four Cardinal Virtues: Prudence, Justice, Fortitude, and Temperance. We cannot achieve greatness or magnanimity unless and until we master the virtues within ourselves. Reaching greatness or magnanimity is about virtue building within ourselves, our families, communities, and others. We cannot achieve magnanimity until fortitude, self-control, counsel, justice, prudence, understanding, respect for others, temperance, humility, charity, piety, and courage are present first within us. We cannot give to others what we do not possess ourselves. So understanding how to master ourselves and build virtue is the first, ongoing, and last step required for magnanimity. And mastering the virtues is a lifelong and ongoing process throughout our entire lives. When we fall, pick yourself up and start the practice of virtue building again, and do this throughout your life. Magnanimity is an ongoing process and a focus we should have throughout our lives. It is also a focus we should have for working with, mentoring, and coaching others to their greatness. We can build virtue within ourselves and help others in our sphere of influence to achieve greatness in their own lives by teaching the virtues and living the virtues in everything we do. I'd like to invite you today and every day, live virtuously. Okay, so my table of contents, we will be going over about Dr. Portugal page, developing skill set, setting attainable goals, building achievable skills, the leadership experience, goals, abilities, standards, perceptions. Perception and the perceptual set. Attribution and fundamental attribution error. And then in conclusion, a question to ask yourself. Okay, as I always like to do, I have a correction that I want to make. As you can see, I have my corrections notes up. In the slide called Management and Ethics, I had a minor error. Let me read the sentence to you again. I said in that talk, I said long-term gains. What I meant to say was short-term gains. It was in the slide, so anybody who was reading along probably read that. So let me read it one more time for you, and I'll close out with that. And again, I'm modeling for you. Whenever Dr. P makes an error, she likes to make sure she can correct that error, right? Okay, so this was slide 5. It was titled Management and Ethics. Organizations and leaders can establish a culture of excellence. I love that. By promoting a virtuous economy and a virtuous learning society. I love that too. 3 challenges exist in modern business that foster corruption, which include 1, the ends justify the means philosophy. I'm sure you're aware of that, right? We've heard about that before. Meaning that some people believe it doesn't matter what it takes. I can do whatever I need to do, no matter how wrong it is, or how evil it is, or how sinful it may be, or lacking virtue. As long as I believe that where I'm headed will make up that difference. So that is the ends justifies the means philosophy. And there are groups that have that philosophy. But, as Christ-centered leaders, we don't want to have that philosophy. Number 2, a myopic lack of concern for the future over short-term gains. Okay, that's where I made the error. So, for example, someone, in some organizations or corporations or forms of doing business or individuals, they may just care about their short-term gains, like a venture capitalist. I just want to sell everything out of here. It doesn't matter how many people will lose their jobs because I have a short-term gain that I want to make some millions. So rather than looking ahead into the future, planning ahead for the well-being of humanity, there are those who have that myopic, lack of concern, meaning they're single-minded. They have one singular vision, and they're going to do what they want to do to get their short-term gains. So that was the error that I made. I said long-term gains. We want to plan long-term, right? We want to plan long-term for ourselves, our families, our communities, the organizations we work with, and for our society and our nation. We want to make long-term gains so that everyone can participate and is valued and appreciated, and we have that thriving virtuous economy and virtuous learning society. And then 3 is an individualism, what's in it for me perspective, rather than what is best for the whole of society perspective. So as we build our Christian virtues and values, and hopefully manifest that throughout our lives and with others, and all of the engagements that we have with others, that we can care about a commitment to society, a commitment to our nation, a global commitment to lead as Christ did, right? Okay, so now let's take a look at, and there's my About Dr. Portugal page. Let's continue on. All right, so this slide is about developing skill set. Leaders can effectively lead others by developing their skill set with goal-setting initiatives, skill-building activities, and setting and maintaining high expectations for behaviors, actions, change, and growth. Leading through activities can involve the following aspects of functional leadership in action. And I just highlighted a few here on this slide. I'm sure you can think of some others. Let's kind of go through them. So you as a leader, you can think about how you can operate within some of these concepts. Creating coaching and developing plans, delegating to others, building high performance teams, providing learning opportunities for team building activities. And you can be very creative there in your own way. Providing constructive feedback. I like to be creative in that area as well. Setting clear goals, standards, and high expectations. If you are coming from a teaching background, you know that we always want to set our high expectations for our learners. Forming partnerships with others. Hopefully I'm forming a partnership here with you today. Or forging partnerships. Inspiring commitment. Conducting a needs gap analysis. You might want to research what a needs gap analysis is. It is a thing. Growing the skill set of others. I always think it's important to let others know that I am growing your skills as a leader, as an educator, as anything you want to be, right? I'm helping to grow your skill set. Promoting persistence. Avoiding staffers in aiding staffers in staying the course to accomplish the plan, right? Staying the course is very important. Creating an environment conducive to learning. Building a conduit to resources and information. I hope that I am a conduit to resources and information for you. And finally, developing stakeholder buy-in. And I put that last because stakeholder buy-in, you can get that if you're working on some of these areas that I've mentioned here. All right, so let's continue on. The next slide is called the leadership experience. Goals. Oh, you know what? We're still on setting attainable goals. I have some more information here for you, so that is good. Developing goals and direction for others is an important step in leading groups to success. A written goal statement with vision, mission, and purpose should have clear objectives that can be easily explained to followers. Once goals are agreed upon, they present a map or framework for follower compliance. Serve as criterion for assessing the leadership potential of followers and become the basis for assessing group performance. So that's key, right? You are setting something up to assess your followers' leadership potential. Leaders who have strong perception and reflection skills will have more capability in setting attainable goals and building achievable skills in followers. Goals should be observable, specific, challenging, and attainable. Moreover, goals should be based on bottom to top commitment and development to provide specific feedback to staffers regarding their movement toward goal accomplishment. Okay, so hopefully I gave you some specific ideas there. All right, our next slide is about the leadership experience, goals, abilities, standards, and perceptions. When analyzing opportunities for leadership experiences, one can develop competencies in the areas of goal setting, enhanced abilities, setting and achieving high standards, and perceiving reality accurately. I like that last part. Perceiving reality accurately. Perceiving yourself, perceiving others, and perceiving the situations we find ourselves in through an accurate lens, not through a skewed, biased lens that is not going to help us achieve our goals and our high standards, right? So for example, perceiving situations and the self accurately involves the power of humility, which is about honoring and understanding reality, knowing one's limitations, and having the ability to use one's strengths in service to others. Setting and achieving high standards for self and others is another leadership competency that can grow and develop through experiential learning opportunities when individuals use the AOR model to change negative behaviors into positive actions. Leadership abilities, skills, and competencies are gained when individuals choose to reflect or self-reflect, recognize faults and weaknesses, and then commit to learning, growth, and change. Furthermore, goal setting is a critical competency for capable leaders, as well as setting the vision, mission, and direction of self, others, organizations, societies, and nations. So I bet you didn't think about that as a budding leader or a leader currently yourself. That is our job, to set the vision, mission, direction for ourselves, as well as others, organizations, and societies and nations, right? As we go through our interactions with others, we want to set the tone for our society and for our nation. That is our responsibility. Okay. Let's talk about perception and perceptual set. What is that? The notion of perception is critically important as it is a skill directly involved in the observation phase of the AOR model. A phenomenon called perceptual set is a concept describing how individuals can be influenced by the senses, which can have a bias or tendency for one thing and not another. Variables such as expectations, prior experience, needs, and feelings can prompt a perceptual set. The notion of perceptual set can have the ability to alter one's perceptions in a selective manner, whereas a leader can see some things while ignoring others. I'm sure you are familiar with some people who do that, right? They will see what they want to see and ignore other things. And that is a big mistake. We don't want to do that. We want to be able to see the whole picture and lead from a broader perspective. So this type of selectivity can be damaging to one's leadership ability, as well as inhibiting to one's personal and professional growth. So, for example, it is not what an individual does not know that can cause harm, but rather it is what an individual knows and is not correct that can cause harm. And I have learned that through the power of humility, those things that we think we know that are correct can be flipped, and we can seek the truth and be able to see truth more easily when humility is one of the virtues that we have first. And as I have said in many other talks, that no other virtue can be obtained until humility is present first in the person. Okay, so that kind of helps remove blinders that we may have, personal biases, or wrong information that we have, or wrong information that we listen to. So learning from experience with correct perception is critical to right actions, right choices, and right mindset. This is a skill that can be learned, and it is a skill that does not always come naturally or noticeably for many individuals. Observations can be distorted when personal bias or other filters are present in an individual's perception of reality. Now, other filters can be a lot of different things. It can be, who are the voices that we're listening to? Are we listening to the spirit of this world? What are the people and the areas that we're listening to that may not be correct, right? So we need to remove those filters and use logic and reason and humility to assess situations and information for ourselves, and then to go out and to do that research ourselves rather than listening to the spirit of this world. So a leader can become more aware of a perceptual set when he or she commits time to reflecting on personal and professional encounters, leadership training curriculum, which you're doing now, and specific leadership situations in the workplace. Okay, so perception and perceptual set are very important concepts for us to understand. And if at any time you want to go back through any of these talks that I give, I know I put in a lot of heavy information. And just so you know, everything that I put out, this is doctoral level work, okay? So this is all information that I learned through, PhD and doctorate. So you're getting doctoral level information for free. So that's cool, right? Okay, so the next slide we're going to talk about attribution and fundamental attribution error. What does that mean? So what individuals attend to and what they observe can be influenced by perceptual sets. Right? So some people will, I'm only going to look at this, I'm only going to know that, and I don't want to go outside of that bubble, right? So that's what that means. They're stuck in a perceptual set. Furthermore, perception impacts the next phase of the experience spiral in the AOR model. Reflection is how individuals interpret their observations. The notion of perception is inherently a meaning, making an interpretive action. So you're making and it's an interpretive action. You're trying to interpret and understand the reality, right, through a clear lens, not a filtered lens or the filter of someone else. A significant factor in this process is called attribution. The notion of attributions involves the explanations individuals create for the actions and behaviors they attend to. Furthermore, individuals may have a propensity to overestimate personal temperament or dispositional causes of behavior, such as physical appearance, personality, intelligence, or some other variable, while underestimating environmental causes outside of an individual's control when others fail. This is called the fundamental attribution error. Often, individuals choose to explain the behavior of others on personal attributions rather than noticing other variables related to the situation that can account for an individual's behavior. So again, you don't want to put a fundamental attribution error on someone else without looking at the big picture, from all sides before you make an assessment or a judgment on someone. This is another factor related to a leader's perception and his or her ability to correctly assess, evaluate, and comprehend the full scope of any situation without a fundamental attribution error. And yes, it is a thing. You might want to do more research on some of these topics. Okay, so in conclusion, a question to ask yourself. Having the ability to self-reflect, accurately perceive situations and people, and the ability to learn, grow, and change from experiences are fundamental aspects of the AOR model in action. So obviously you have the ability to learn and grow from new experiences because you're seeking this kind of information out to help you grow as a leader. And I'm sure you have experienced people in your life who, that's it. They've shut down. They don't want to learn anymore or grow anymore. I mean, I had a girlfriend one time tell me, when she reached 50 or and in general, when people reach 50, they don't want to learn anymore. So I don't know if that's true because I'm over 50 and I love, love, love learning. But you know what? That's putting an attribunal, what is that? Fundamental attribunal error on someone, right? Fundamental attribution error, right? We can't make judgments like that on everyone. Okay, so with these abilities, leaders are more challenged to lead self, others, organizations, societies, and nations, right? We all want to get out there and lead our society and our nations through a Jesus Christ-centered leadership model. In addition, without these abilities, leaders can have a more difficult time setting and achieving goals and developing and maintaining high standards for success. This discussion examined the Action Observation Reflection, or AOR model, to build leadership competencies through the process of experiential learning opportunities, right? Learning through experiences, hands-on, and self-reflection. Professional leadership approaches when dealing with individuals in the workplace were presented. In addition, leading through activities in professional associations with others was examined. And finally, an analysis of leadership experience relating to goals, abilities, standards, and perceptions was explored. Leadership enrichment involves a self-reflection continuum of learning based on the AOR model. So basically meaning, we're doing leadership enrichment today, a self-reflection continuum, meaning it's ongoing. We're always self-reflecting on the information we're digesting and hearing and reading and researching. I know, anytime I'm learning something new, I have to self-reflect on that new information and find a way to change the way I think if it's something that I need to change, right? So self-reflection is very important in our growth as a leader. All right, so ask yourself this question. Examine how you might teach the AOR model to others and why it might be useful for personal and professional growth. Okay, so that wraps it up. I hope you like that graphic there. I thought it's very cute. I like anything in the similar light. Let me read it. Fate whispers to the warrior, "You cannot withstand the storm." And the warrior whispers back, "I am the storm." There you go. So that's you and I. Go out into the world and storm away. Be the salt of the earth, as scripture says, right? So here are the references. I cited myself from my book, as well as Mr. Alexandre Havard. He has 3 books here that I cited from, and you might be interested in looking into his virtuous leadership model. Thank you for allowing me to create this for you today. It was my honor and pleasure to serve you. God bless you, and be the salt of the earth. Goodbye.